Hi, I'm Danielle Matias with the Feel Better Therapy Clinic, and today I wanted to talk to you about Christian counseling. So, Christian counseling is a type of counseling that incorporates Christianity. So, I'm going to read to you from an article from the American Psychological Association. It says, using religion as a therapeutic tool is a little controversial and still emerging. Techniques including the use of prayer during session, ways to direct clients to pray, spiritual journaling, forgiveness protocols, using biblical texts. These are all things that are done during Christian counseling. So I wanted to kind of talk about it today because it's growing, and I have a lot of professional friends that engage in this type of therapy. They provide therapy that is Christian counseling, and we actually provide it at the Feel Better Therapy Clinic. I do not give Christian counseling, but my business partner does. She's a very devout Christian, and if you're interested in Christian counseling, you definitely want to connect with her. I have some concerns about Christian counseling, and I'm gonna share it with you today, and then we'll kind of talk about the pros about it as well. So one of my concerns is the fact that I really believe cultural competency is important and diversity is important. And I feel like when you have someone in front of you who is Jewish or Muslim or Buddhist or Hindu, you need to be able to provide them with excellent therapy, and you cannot use Christianity when you're working with someone who does not identify as Christian. I think that's highly unethical, and I think you have to really respect the religious background of your client. So one of my concerns about Christianity as a therapeutic tool is that if you're leaning on that, how do you then provide good therapy to non-Christians? And if you only provide therapy to Christians, is that not a bit biased? I think that everyone deserves good mental health treatment. So I'm kind of one of those people that believe in separation of church and state. But if you're a Christian therapist who can also provide good therapy to non-Christians, then I think that's great as well. One of my other concerns is the importance of client-centered goal setting. So what does that mean? It means that when a client comes to you, it is not your job to tell them what their goals are. It is their job to tell you what their goals are, and then you help them reach their goals. So basically, one client can have a goal to get married and have kids, while the other client can have a goal to stay single. And whether or not you feel, happiness is marriage or happiness is single life, you cannot project that onto your client. You kind of listen to what they want, and then you help them reach their own goals. So with Christianity, I feel like the goals are kind of set based on the faith, and then you're going to be pushing those goals onto the client. And I feel like that's a huge gray area. And there's so many different belief systems within Christianity, so many denominations. There's such variation. So what if you come from a denomination that believes in being vegetarian, and then another Christian comes from a denomination where they're eating meat every day, all day, and then do you then try to ask them to give up meat? I mean, I just think it could be gray in that area. So that's one of my concerns as well. Another concern I have is the issue with indoctrinating, right? So what happens if you get a client, like myself, for example, who grew up Christian, but identifies more now as spiritual, and you're my therapist, and now you're trying to kind of like use Christianity to help me, and you're trying to like indoctrinate me, convert me into your religion, and I feel like that's another ethical boundary issue. So where do you draw the line? So do you only take on devout Christians? Do you take, I just think that it could be very problematic if it's not handled with care. The other issue I have is with just psychoanalysis. I love psychoanalysis. I love the fact that you have an unconscious mind, and it's full of different conflicts, and we can explore that and really make progress with your case by figuring out what is going on. And when you lean towards Christianity, sometimes I feel like you're abandoning a little bit of that psychoanalysis, psychoanalytical theory. You're abandoning, the science of psychology, because it is a science. But if you incorporate it as techniques, then of course I'm in complete alignment with that. The other concern I have is the judgmental nature of some religious people. I'm going to give you a good example. One time I was with a bunch of church friends, and we were driving in a car, and we passed by a church that had a big gay flag on it. And I mean, these women literally had a coroner, like they were having heart attacks all over the car, fainting, and it was an outrage. What kind of this is blasphemy, it's horrible. And I thought, wow, what's so bad about gay people having a place to talk to God? I didn't see anything wrong with it, and the judgment was very thick in the car. And that's my concern. What about these groups of people, in the LGBTQ community, or just people who live alternative lifestyles and they go to therapy? Are they going to be judged by a Christian therapist, someone who practices therapy on the base of Christianity? So those are my critiques. If I angered you, I'm sorry. I've been angering Christians since the 80s, so I'm kind of used to it, but I don't mean to. I'm just very honest. The flip side is that a lot of Christians who have sought counseling have said to me that they went to Christian counseling and they loved it. So if you are a Christian, if your faith is very near and dear to your heart, what I have seen throughout the course of my career is that you do very well in Christian counseling. So it's not all bad. It does help a lot of people. Faith-based practices can be very, very useful. So I just wanted to put that out there, that it's something that can be very good, but be careful, be informed, make sure that you vet your therapist, have a consultation with them, gauge if they match you in your belief system. But whatever works, as long as you get happy, you get healthy, you get help, that's all that matters. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to check us out at www.feelbettertherapyclinic.com.